What is up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Surfing the Stream, where every week we're on a quest to find out what is the greatest movie of all time. Today, I am here to review Godzilla Minus One. It is a movie that we saw in theaters back when it originally got released, and it was a great fucking time. Today, I ended up watching the minus color edition. You can watch the minus one edition, the full color, on Netflix right now. And you can find the minus color edition on like Vudu, Fandango, Amazon Prime, anywhere where you can rent and buy movies. That is 100% the way you need to watch Godzilla Minus One, is to watch it in black and white. It is, to me, the best version of the entire movie, because I just think it gives you that feel of the OG Godzilla movies that used to come on fucking TV and it did just look terrible and whatnot. I think the black and white plays into the mood of the movie so much better than color. What I mean by that is the fact that this whole movie is centered around the fact that the human element, the human story is so fucking good. It is better than any other monster movie that has come before it in terms of just nailing the human aspect, the characters of the story, rather than it being, Godzilla versus Kong, or was it Godzilla X Kong, and then the other two Godzilla movies. It's like, okay, I don't really give a shit about the characters. I just want to see Godzilla destroy things. And while you still want that in this movie, you still want to see death, destruction, and mayhem. In between all those scenes, it's not boring. You still want Godzilla to show up, but you're not mad at it because the characters are so damn good in this movie. We have the main character who really has an arc, and I don't know of a Godzilla movie where the main character has an arc throughout the entire movie. And it's from the fact that, okay, yeah, he was supposed to be a kamikaze pilot. He has no courage. He goes back on his honor and pretends like his plane is malfunctioning, so he doesn't end up flying and killing himself, right? So the whole movie is about him still having that war within himself, and the fact that he did not kamikaze into American ships or anything like that. The whole movie is just him trying to reckon with that. And then when he finally gets the opportunity, when he finds out that his girlfriend, not girlfriend, whatever you want to call her, when he finds out that she has been killed in the Godzilla attack, that's when he realizes this is why he survived the war. It was for this moment. It was to stop Godzilla. Then for the fact that he has that one mechanic who just absolutely hates him at the very beginning for, turning back on his honor and not helping them and allowing other people to die at the hands of Godzilla. The fact that he realizes that he is 100% on board with killing himself this time, he builds that auto eject feature in there. I don't know. I think that whole arc just 100% works for me. And I love this movie for that reason. I think this movie is instantly rewatchable for the fact that they were able to nail the characters in this. And every character has their moment. And I think every character is like genuinely different from one another. And you can't ask for much more in a Godzilla movie. This is without a doubt the best Godzilla movie that's ever been made. Like, even if you go from the fact that some Godzilla movies have better action or whatever the case, they don't have the human element. They don't have the characters being so elevated in that story that when Godzilla's not there, you're not really upset by it. But then when he comes back into the mix, then you're concerned about the characters because, okay, what's going to happen to them? What is Godzilla going to do and how are they going to react to those situations? The score. It goes back to the OG movies, the OG Godzilla scores, which is so fucking good. And the score is not there like in your face at all times, but when it is there, it is absolutely fantastic. Fantastic. And towards the end of the movie, I would say is when the score really impacts the overall like message and story, because then you have all these characters that are just kind of hopeless and they feel like Godzilla can't be destroyed. And that score just highlights that hopelessness. and then once the hope does shine through the clouds, then the music kind of helps with that. And I just think, to me, the score really, really impacted the movie and elevated it to the next level for sure. As far as the visual effects, obviously they won an Oscar for it, and rightfully so. They deserve that. Like, they're just so damn good. And I love all the action sequences, all the death, carnage, mayhem. It fits so well with the visual effects being on point. And then let me tell you, the black and white makes it all look better, I think. But the one last thing that I do want to discuss before I cut out of this review is the design of Godzilla. I really disliked how they designed his eyes. Just felt like it didn't really fit the rest of his body. And watching it again, I'm not as harsh on the eyes. I still feel like they don't fit the body as well, but I'm a little bit like, I'm okay with them now. As far as the rest of the design goes, this is thick boy Godzilla. Like, this dude is fucking massive. I love the design of the spikes on his back when he does his atomic breath, how they all, which, let me just say, the slowdown of his spikes popping up during the atomic breath, how at first it's like super slow, and then as it climbs up his body towards his head, it gets faster and more prominent. That was fucking dope. So dope. To me, that just, it heightens the tension there, because it's not like he just generates his atomic breath and that's it. Because then, I don't know, I feel like the tension is just not there enough to be really impactful for an atomic breath, which is a devastating attack. So on the other side of that is, they don't use it that much in this movie. Now, I know in the Godzilla Kong movies, he was using the atomic breath like every 5 seconds. In this one, it's used, 3 times and maybe 4 times. I know one of those times he doesn't even actually use it. He starts generating the power, and then he ends up getting sucked down underwater. But yeah, overall, really, really love the design of Godzilla. I think it is the best designed Godzilla for sure up to this point, out of all the movies that I've seen. One little gripe that I will mention before I cut out of this episode is the plot. And that issue was, why does Godzilla leave Tokyo and then eventually come back and then leave again? It is a little bit clearer when I watched it the second time, but I still think that they didn't execute this 100%. Is they make a little reference that they're going to use his roar as a way to lure him into the flotation devices and to sink him underwater and whatnot, to get him pressurized and hopefully explode, right? So they make that little reference in the movie before anything ever happened. They drop that little tidbit while they're doing their little planning of the attack and whatnot, and then they don't mention it again. So I caught it this time, but they don't ever show you them doing the roar underwater or anything like that. He just shows up, right? They mentioned it very quickly and then never went back to it. So it's still a little bit of an issue with the story, but I'm a little bit higher on it now in terms of it doesn't really bother me. But yeah, guys, overall, story is great. I love the fact that it's set post-World War II, when they're already a devastated region, and then Godzilla comes in and just devastates them again once they started rebuilding. And I think the story, the characters, all absolutely phenomenal. But yeah, I would highly, highly recommend going and checking this movie out. Again, it is on Netflix. That is the colored version. If you have $15 to spare, it's on Fandango, Amazon Prime, etc. And I would recommend going and just buying the minus color edition, because I think that is the absolute perfect way to watch this movie. But if you have to watch the colored version, you don't want to spend $14 and you already have Netflix, 100% go watch this movie right now. Guys, let me know in the comments below what you think about Godzilla Minus One. And if you have seen the minus color edition, let me know your thoughts on that, if I'm right, if I'm wrong. But other than that, guys, I'm going to catch y'all next time on another episode. Laters.